life changes on your part. Gone will be the days of just cutting back and doing what always worked. No, my precious sister, this is a whole new game, and believe me when I tell you, it's on. You must be wise and determined to get your health back, to get your body back, and to get your life back. This is a war, and we are just the women to win it. Let's do this thing, and here's how we do it. On my podcast, The Julie Tussey Show, episode 192, I re-released a 3-part series called 3 Keys to Lose Weight After 30 Plus. After 4 years of severe perimenopause and trying everything short of starvation, I began finally losing weight. I tried everything. I went to the gym 3 times a week faithfully for 1 whole year. No loss. Can you believe I actually gained 3 pounds, and it took 6 weeks for that to come off when I started working out? I wanted to pull my hair out. I was on diet after diet and pill after pill, and nothing seemed to work for me. What used to work did not work anymore. 4 long, agonizing, discouraging, and painful years I tried with everything I had. Then after all this hellacious struggle, heartbreak, and frustration in my life, I began to study about losing weight after 30 and after 40, and I began to see a theme. This is my story and how I finally lost weight in the throes of perimenopause. In my 20s and 30s, I followed the low-fat diet. It was the 80s, and the low-fat diet worked marvelously for me. I could simply cut the fat, resulting in high-carb foods as my main intake, and I'd slim right down. It was divine. The chips, the cereal, the bread, the Snackwell cookies with no fat but twice the sugar. The white sugar and flour heaven. As long as I cut the fat out of my diet, I got thin. This method worked pretty well most of my adult life until the point of onset severe perimenopause. But to be honest, I dealt with severe low blood sugar all those years too, and basically didn't feel very well much of my 20s and 30s while on the low-fat diet. And don't get me started on the brain fog and lack of mental clarity because of the lack of healthy oils, but I was thin, baby. I was thin. Another problem I had with this particular lifestyle of eating was that eating dry cereal, bread, chips, maybe an occasional yogurt with fruit and veggies just did not supply much protein. But when my body began to go through perimenopause, it began to need different things. I want to stress that. But when my body began to go through perimenopause, it began to need different things. All of a sudden, I was starving if I ate low fat. I could eat 3 bowls of cereal with skim milk and I was still hungry. I was hungry every 2 hours. I could not be satiated. My body was going crazy with cravings like PMS cravings on steroids. That was no fun, y'all. But low fat now during severe perimenopause at this time, at this age, made the PMS cravings more insane every single day, all day long, 24/7, not just 1 week out of the month anymore. Can you relate? Have you ever had to deal with this? It was tough, my sister. It was tough. I did not know what was going on. My same lifelong go-to dieting strategies were absolutely failing me. I thought I had this weight control thing figured out for life, but guess what? I did not. Perimenopause and how it affected my body threw me a big, gigantic curveball, and I wasn't anywhere near educated enough to deal with this catastrophe. Was it not bad enough I was continually fighting to stay in my jeans? Was it not bad enough that I had fought all my life just to stay in a size 12 or 14? As this realization came crashing down on me, I began to understand that I alone had to educate myself about perimenopause and what it was going to take to get healthier and remain healthy for the rest of my life through it and through menopause. As I began to study my former food choices, I realized I hardly ate fat unless it was in sweets, and I was totally missing out on protein. Sometimes I would barely get 30 grams of protein a day. Shout out to my fitness pal for helping me see my stats. I began to learn that at my age, to lose weight, I needed more protein to feel full and satiated. This would enable me to control my caloric intake more easily, and I would be fueling my body for muscle building and health. And as much as I never imagined I'd need this kind of knowledge of how to fuel my body and build muscle, I was soon to learn this would be a major key in aging in a way that would safeguard my health and my quality of life. It would also be key in helping me to have sanity as I dealt with all the changes my peri journey was bringing to my body, my brain, and to my mind. But back to my failing low-fat, stay trim forever diet plan. Now, having learned about the need for increased protein, I want to tell you I was not happy. The first thing I thought was that protein came only from meat, and I am not a big meat eater. I've been pescatarian on and off through my life because of my quote-unquote sometimes aversion to meat, because I don't like to eat meat, especially pork and beef. I knew this protein thing was going to be a real challenge for me. What was I going to do? I could not stomach eating a bunch of meat. LOL. Always a researcher, I decided to study what foods had protein in them, and boy, was I pleasantly surprised with what I found. Yes, my dear reader, there is protein in so many foods that are not meat! ! Delightful organic dairy, aromatic beans, colorful veggies, romaine lettuce, for goodness sake. Imagine my delight in learning that pearl of wisdom. I was overjoyed. Many of the foods I loved had protein in them. I just had to begin to add them into my diet more. And with the low carb / high protein fad going strong at this specific time in my life, I found there were many delicious alternatives available. And just as a side note, I want to let you know that I do not advocate a very low carb diet. I think that if we can, and you'll hear this in one of the other podcasts soon, but we should do complex carbs. I do not count my carbs, and I may not be as skinny as I want to be, but I feel great. So just a side note, I was actually talking about in the diet right here, and with the low carb, high protein fad going strong at this specific time in my life, I found there were many delicious alternatives available. I'm talking about the fact that protein became so popular that it was easy to get your hands on all kinds of protein and enjoy it. So here's a list of my favorite high protein foods. Please make sure you look up serving sizes for each food so you don't eat too many calories. And I do advocate that we use MyFitnessPal in here and measure when we first start so that we don't overeat. But some of these things you just can't overeat. I will not chart lettuce on MyFitnessPal. A starchy vegetable I will, but like cucumbers and tomatoes and stuff, no, I'm just not going to count those. I want my life to be simpler, but you do what makes you happy. So here's the list of my favorite high protein foods in the book. Vegetables, use organic as often as you can. Now, you're going to be surprised that these have high protein levels. Romaine lettuce, I love to use this as my bread, quote unquote, for BLTs, sloppy joes, etc. And I do use an uncured turkey bacon if you can get used to that. They sell a beautiful, wonderful brand at Costco, but you can find any turkey bacon in your local grocery store. I do prefer the uncured just to get the chemicals out. Lima beans, what can I say about these? You love them or you hate them. Green peas, who doesn't love these? In soup and salad in my belly. I had those yesterday. I know that some of these things seem taboo, but all you have to do is know the calories that you're intaking every day and stay below so that you're in a deficit of what it takes for your body to function and exercise and do all the things. So green peas, I love these. Who knew they had protein? Baby spinach. Get in my protein shake, baby spinach. I love to put baby spinach in my protein. In my protein shakes. It's a great way to sneak it in. Now, I can eat it raw. I can eat it cooked. I can slip it into eggs. I can slip it into a protein shake. I can slip it into a salad as one of the leaves. It's amazing, you guys. If you are not having baby spinach, organic baby spinach every every day, you're missing out because it's so good for your body. Definitely add it to your diet every day. Sweet corn needs no comment. Sweet corn stands alone. I didn't know it had protein in it. Don't eat a whole lot of it just simply because of the GMO situation, but I'm not going to not ever have it. You know, it's great in a pico de gallo salsa that you make. It's great in so many things. Asparagus grilled with avocado oil and lemon pepper. Throw it right on the grill. Throw it in your pan with some water. It's just delicious. The next one is Brussels sprouts. Now, these things came, and I'm sure you have heard of them. They came on the scene like a freight train. And they are so good, you all. They are so good. When I was a kid, I hated them. Absolutely hated them. But I'm not a kid anymore. So they're good, shredded. They're good. They're just so good. What we do, me and my girls, we roast them with olive oil or avocado oil, garlic powder, and Greek seasoning or Greek seasoning alone, a little salt and pepper. And we put them in the oven and we kind of rough them up a little bit. Some people say massage them. We kind of smack them around and we get the little outer shells to come loose and fall off. And then we roast them. I think we roast them on 450 and we watch them. I think it's 20 to 40 minutes. I cannot remember. I'm sorry. It's not in the book because, you know, anybody knows how to roast Brussels sprouts. And if they don't, they Google it. But we roast them till those little ones just get crispy brown, and we like a nice crisp on them. And then when they're left over, I just put them in a container and pop them in the air fryer the next day. So good. Here's another thing that has protein: mushrooms. What? I love these things. I dice them finely and cook them with taco seasoning. Sometimes I get the big portobello. This is not in the book. Sometimes I get the big portobello mushroom caps, and I'll either make a pizza in them with some tomato sauce and some mozzarella, and put. I don't even put meat on them, y'all. It's all about vegetables, diced tomatoes, peppers, anything you would put on a pizza, I put on those. Sometimes I stuff them with a low-fat cream cheese with some of that turkey bacon diced up and some green onion diced up and put that in. You can do anything. They can be the bun for your hamburgers and your sandwiches or your turkey burgers. They can actually just I used to just throw them in. Believe it or not, I had this old school sandwich maker, and they still make them, by the way. But I would just throw them in there with some garlic salt on them and pull them out and put a little Laughing Cow cheese on, and there you go. But they have protein in them. Here's one of my favorite: broccoli, the most delicious little trees you will ever eat. I try to eat broccoli every day. There's a couple of things I try to eat every day. I didn't put in the book, but I'll give it to you since you're my faithful, loving listeners. And I would eat a serving of broccoli, and I would eat a serving of oatmeal every day just for health's sake. Tomatoes. This is one of my largest food staples, especially in the summer. Love tomatoes. You can serve them with cottage cheese or tuna, or you can eat them by themselves. They can be a side on everything you eat. If you're like me and you love Mexican, there's tons of tomatoes in there. Green peppers. Who knew? Green and delicious. Cooked or raw, oh so good. Cucumbers, super duper delicious as a side in a salad or in my mouth like a bite of summer. I love cucumbers year round. I will take green pepper, cucumbers, onions, tomatoes, and I will, and a little cilantro, and put some lemon juice and salt on it. I will make a chopped salad, and I will serve that with everything I eat. So good. You can make it, you can throw avocado in it. You can throw some quinoa in it. You can do all kinds of things. Kale. Now, kale, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I actually have heard how great it is, and I'm sure anything dark green is good for us. But I don't know, y'all. About the only way I like kale is when I roast it into a chip. And what you do is you cut out the big middle stem, and you wash it really well, and then you put it in a bowl, rip it up, put it in a bowl, toss it in olive oil, and I use like a Cajun seasoning on it. Sometimes I'll even put cayenne. I want it hot and spicy, and then I roast it on 450, and I keep an eye on it, and I roast it till it's like a potato chip, a very fragile potato chip. Next up, we have cauliflower. Okay, now this I did put in the book. Boiled in chicken broth, drained,